This is Goku-san, DBZ, and I want to welcome you to another special Top 10 Saturday, which I will not be doing next week since I have to work Saturdays. So I may try to do some stuff on Monday next week. But of course I have my normal Top 10 Sunday tomorrow, obviously. Now for today, I decided to talk a little bit about personal picks for me. Top 10 favorite animes. Yes, these, and of course honorable mentions before number 1, which is probably going to be obvious. But, yes, here they are. Top 10 favorite animes. Also at the end, I have some manga to show that I found actually on clearance at my local Books A Million, or BAM as people call it. Coming in at number 10 is a great anime originally done by, of course, the well-known Pioneer Entertainment. Well, and now I believe the copyrights are owned by, of course, the well-known super powerful Funimation. But this show was originally done, English dub was done around like 2004 or so. A really great series. It's called Last Exile. And yes, worthy at number 10 is Last Exile. It's a Gonzo anime, of course, which has a few trends, which means one, there's going to be a lot of stuff involved in the sky, and it's quite beautiful. The world is interesting, the world of Meneghis. But it's actually really interesting. You have three main groups, of course. The main ones who live in that world and the ones who come from another world trying to invade and take over. And then, of course, you've got the guild, which are the ones who basically are considered to be the referees or some, of course, in the end they show they want to take over. And you've got four really guild families. And the one who's in power is, I'm trying to remember the name now. It's been a while since I've watched the anime, but one of your main protagonists is the younger brother of the one in charge of the guild. Found your hair when you forget names, but oh yeah, Dio Eleclair, from the house of Eleclair, and of course his older sister is the one in charge of the guild. Which she is pure evil, I will say that. The Mistress was it Mistress Delphine or something like that? I'm trying to remember. But she is evil. English dubbing on this anime is incredible. Top notch. Definitely, I think, one of the top best English dub animes ever. And the artwork is so beautifully done, for the most part. This is one of the ones that does show a little bit too much perfection overall, way too polished look with the newer stuff. But that is a trend with like Gonzo animes, is that there's always a lot of mixture of 3D backgrounds with, of course, 2D style animation combined together. That was always a trademark, though more and more animes are doing this now, so it's not so original now. But in 2004, this was pretty more different, because it wasn't the trend at that time to do that. It was still a great anime. Of course, it was on Tech TV in those days, then became G4. But great anime. Coming in at number 9 is another amazing anime, originally done in the 1980s. Of course, they would get it remastered under the banner of ADV Films before they went under. Now I believe Funimation may hold the English dub rights, I don't know. And that is Robotech. Which now, of course, they're working on a live-action Robotech movie by Sony Pictures. So, we shall see. Because Sony has a mixed track record on stuff. So, we shall see. But Robotech is a great, not best English dubbing, but I'll let it pass. It was the 80s, after all. And the English, though, was still better than a lot of other 80s animes that came over here, though a lot of people don't realize that Robotech was. Now, of course, in Japan, Robotech was known as Macross. And it is definitely, hands down, a really great anime series, and I recommend it for anyone. It was total 3 seasons, though each season was known as really a saga. The first season was known as the Zentrani Saga. The second season was the Robotech Masters, and the third season was the Invent, which you'll learn about in a special movie that took place in between. Actually, technically, took place between the first and second seasons, which timeline-wise, I believe. Season 2, the Robotech Masters took place somewhere around the range of like 15 years or so after the end of the events of the last episodes and stuff of Season 1. And then you have just about like maybe 2-3 years after that, the end of Season 2, we have the Invent, which come to Earth for protoculture, which ends up devoured by what they call the Flower of Life. And protoculture is what makes the world go round. It's what the Zentrani spaceships ran on. It's what the Robotech Master stuff runs on. And, of course, the Flower of Life is what the Invent stuff runs on. But it's just a repackaged version of the protoculture, which comes from the protoculture matrix. Now, I'm trying not to have this video more than like 20 minutes or so I'm not going to go in depth on it, because I could go on a 30 or 40 minute discussion just on some of the stuff in Robotech. It's that complex, actually, overall story arc-wise. And it's really fascinating. Coming in at number 8 is another great anime that was on Tech TV. Came on at nights right after, actually, Last Exile. And this is a main series that was only like 13 episodes long, but a great, great series. And psychologically, this anime will make you question reality, what's different between our world and the digital world, or aka The Wire. And the English dubbing, for the most part, was really good on the anime. Very fascinating characters, I will say. And given the complexity of the main character, Lane. So obviously, you now know the name of this anime series. Coming in number 8 is Serial Experiments Lane. Originally done by Pioneer Entertainment, just like Last Exile. And Robotech, as I mentioned, was remastered by ADV Films. Now I believe it's under the Funimation banner, like the other two I just mentioned are also now under the Funimation banner. But Serial Experiments Lane is just a very fascinating, complex show, and that's one of the things I appreciate about it, is the complexity of the story. Coming at number 7 is my favorite, pretty much hands down favorite anime involving mech. And that being also my favorite of the Gundam franchise, and that is Gundam Wing, which of course has awesome characters, and the English dubbing is superb. I would probably put Gundam Wing in the top 5 greatest English dub anime series of all time. And the English voice actor, which sadly has done very little voice acting over the years, which did the English dub for the character Hiro Yui. Very interesting character, and the English voice work was amazing. And I have to compliment the voice actor who did Hiro Yui's English work. Very good job, sir. And also, you will hear a lot of familiar voice actors of nowadays in animes in also Gundam Wing. You had awesome characters, such as I just mentioned. Also characters such as Zex Marquis, also known as I'm trying to mirror. Also known as, of course, Miliardo Peacecraft of the Peacecraft family, which you learn about in the series. And of course, finding out about his sister, Relina Peacecraft, or also, of course, goes by the name she was raised by years, Relina Doylein. Of course, you have also, besides that, another really powerful over, of course, the organization Oz, and takes over Roma Foundation, and of course, that being obviously Treize Khushrenada. And of course, his daughter, basically, is the big baddie in the movie Endless Waltz. But yes, check out Gundam Wing if you've never watched it. You will greatly enjoy it if you enjoy any sort of mech animes, and if you've only watched the newer Gundams like Sea Gundam and stuff, you should really check out. This was the anime that made Gundam huge in America, was Gundam Wing. And then also series like Gundam the 8th MS Team, of course the original Mobile Suit Gundam, and of course we can't forget G Gundam. Coming at number 6 is easily probably my favorite anime ever produced by Bandai. Which the last one was a Bandai, but this is my favorite hands down. Another amazing, well done English dub. The music though is beautiful in this anime series. It's just so gorgeous, and the art stuff at the end with the 2 different credit themes over the period of time. I love the fantasy style mixed with sci-fi artwork at the end. The pieces are just beautiful. And of course this anime is called Outlaw Star. And of course we have main characters like Gene Starwind being the main protagonist of the series. And you have awesome secret spaceship, and of course you have the girl which comes with him. And of course you have that special, the head of the Un-10-7, I'm trying to remember now his name, darn it. Huzonko of the Un-10-7, working under, supposedly under the Tendo King. He's the head of the K-Pirates. And fascinating character, and of course you have a special thing he says to, Melfina, which is, of course, she's also the heroine of the ley lines, and of course, that being activate command protocol. It was you who broke my Mason plate. Weird code word, yeah, I know. But you have also interesting antagonists in the series, and then you have some really nutty characters throughout the series, definitely. Definitely the, but overall, story arc, it's a great series, and I love the whole myth and mythology they create about the ley lines. And of course, that exists in our real world, a spiritual world and stuff, which they teach in, of course, paganism and in many different New Age philosophies and stuff. And I know since I study theology about ley lines, also related to key lines. And of course, ley lines is about a spiritual nexus of sorts, you could say, which you also learn if you study anything about Masonic architecture. It is based a lot on the route of ley lines. And if you look at like a lot of spiritual, highly active places like haunted places, they're usually sitting on ley lines. So yeah, you could call them like spiritual rivers of sorts. But you should check out Outlaw Star if you've never watched it. Coming at number 5 is, of course, another incredible anime series. Probably hands down my favorite anime series ever done by DreamWorks. Anime Works, my bad. But this course takes place during the samurai era, during the Meiji government era, which was just after the Meiji Revolution, which took place not too around the same time frame as actually our own American Revolutionary War, which is quite fascinating. and that is Rurouni Kenshin, which is, of course, about the protagonist. Um, Kenshin Himura, also known as Batosai, the Manslayer. And his great sword adventures, of course, against amazing villains such as, definitely hands down the greatest in that entire series, which of course was Makoto Shishio and his group of elite warriors. And of course you have other great villains, sort of anti-heroes eventually, like Saito, also known, goes by the codename Goro Fujita, which works for, of course, the military. But it's a fascinating series with fascinating characters. I also like the younger characters like Yahiko Myoji, and of course the love interest of Kenshin Himura being Karu Kamiya. And just really interesting characters and very enjoyable series, and I just love all the different styles, the artwork, and you can tell it's very 90s, and that's the thing, I love 90s, 80s and 90s style anime. 90s, though, I thought was the best decade in overall style of anime, and it's one of the things I really enjoyed about Rurouni Kenshin, Outlaw Star, and anime such as that, because it has the very 90s feel, along with also Gundam Wing and others. Coming at number 4 is by far, definitely the higher ups on this list, is definitely the youngest anime on my list that I've only started watching about 3 years ago, but it's by far the youngest on the list. And that is Bleach, comes in at number 4. I love Bleach, what can I say? I love the characters like Rukia. Also, I love regardless, Ichigo Kurosaki is kind of a mixed bag with opinions on that character. I enjoy and I love the music. But of course, I'm gonna have to love, hands down, one of the main villains, obviously, that being Sosuke Aizen, former Captain Aizen of the 13 Court Guard squads of course, the Spirit World. Which is just awesome. Love freaking Aizen. Sosuke Aizen is such a great, developed overall character. I didn't like how he ended, though, sadly, with the whole saga and stuff with him. But it was just enjoyable. I just, as of this week, finished watching the last episodes of the series, saw how it ended. I thought it was kind of anticlimactic, personally. As I said, it's a great anime series. It would be in my top 3 if it wasn't for some of the confusing stuff here and there in some later seasons. I thought seasons 1 through 5 was by far the best period in it. I thought that when they invaded the Spirit World to try to rescue Rukia, I thought was the best. I thought was the peak of the series, though, overall storytelling was. Coming in at number 3 is Inuyasha, which is an anime I've been watching for like 14 years now. Yep, about 14, 15 years, around that time frame. Around 2001 I started watching it. Back during the midnight run, back when, let's face it, Cartoon Network was actually good. Back when Toonami, back when Adult Swim was actually good. Yeah, and the midnight run, as I mentioned, was amazing. Of course, Outlaw Star was part of the midnight run as well. But Inuyasha, great series with, of course, Inuyasha, character Moroku, Songo, Kagome. Kagome is a great heroine character, I will say. But you gotta love the nutting and pervertingness of Moroku. Hands down, probably my favorite pervert in anime. And there's, trust me, a lot of perverted characters in animes. But it's just the, I just love the banter and stuff between him and Songo over the years. Of course, in the end of the series, spoiler alert, they end up having like 3 kids together. And eventually, of course, Kagome ends up also in, obviously, in the end with Inuyasha, so yeah. But Sesshomaru is probably hands down one of my all-time favorite characters in anime series. Though my own personal favorite villains, I would have to say easily in the top 5 personal favorite villains of all time in anime, Naraku. He's just an amazing, in-depth character, and I just really enjoyed. Coming in number 2 is what I call the mature version of DBZ, and that is Yu Yu Hakusho, with amazing villains such as, I'm trying to remember, Yomi, of course, one of my easily top 3 probably favorite anime villains of all time, being, of course, the awesome Shinobu Sensui, which has other alter egos we met, like Minoru Sensui or Kazuya, and, of course, awesome characters like Toguro. Didn't like Elder Toguro, but Toguro was awesome. Honorable mentions. Pokemon, Digimon, Death Note, Soul Eater, Spice and Wolf, and 2 more honorable mention anime series. I am going to have to mention, of course, Cowboy Bebop, and the last honorable mention I have to give to a special little anime series, which is actually pretty good. I just recently started watching Black Butler. Oh yeah, and Sword Art Online. My bad. Number 1. Of course, it's obvious given the name of this YouTube channel. And yes, I'm including them all together. Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball GT. Dragon Ball Super. But, even though I skipped over, number 1, of course, hands down the best of all 4. Dragon Ball Z. And there's actually quite a few people, surprisingly, out there, though, that don't like Dragon Ball Z, but yet enjoy Dragon Ball. Maybe because it's not quite so milked out, the fights and stuff, like over a period of like 20 or 30 episodes long, like the Frieza saga and stuff. Okay, I understand, he is a little over milked, but hey, you got your guilty pleasures. I mean, after all, of course it's not going to bar me too much, given how long some of the fights are in, like, Bleach, have just as long milked out fights. After all, Bleach is like 366 episodes, so yeah. But, and of course, Dragon Ball Super is just now airing, of course, English dub of the first season. Of course, it's probably going to be a year or so away from now. But, incredible series, Dragon Ball Z, Dragon Ball GT, Dragon Ball Super. So far, I like Super. I personally feel GT's better than Super thus far. But keep in mind, that's just my own personal opinion. Opinions are subjective, obviously. But this is my top 10 favorite anime series of all time. Please send me feedback, leave a comment, what your favorite anime series are of all time. What your opinions are, what decade was the best in anime, produced-wise. For me, of course, it's a mix between really the mid-80s to like the mid-90s, I thought, was like 10-year time frame, produced some of the best, because that's when Dragon Ball Z, all those started. Though, to be fair, like late 90s or something was, I think, when they started doing Inuyasha, but Yu Yu Hakusho is 90s, Gundam Wing is 90s, so many great, Rurouni Kenshin is 90s, but yeah, easily my favorite decade in that and regular animated shows, really. I thought it was Golden Age. But, as always, please thumbs up this video, like, subscribe, share if you think anybody else might enjoy it, please. Peace out. As always, this is Goku Sun DBZ. And also, I want to show a couple, as I mentioned, manga before I get off that I picked up. This is volumes just 1 through 3 they had on clearance. So these were the series that caught my eye. This is volumes 1, 2, and 3 of a anime manga series called Devils and Realists, which sounds kind of interesting to me. And it kind of caught my attention overall. Now these only, interestingly, volumes 1, 2, 3, and 5. So if I run Jog Course, I have to get 4 in the others. And yeah, it caught my eye. I thought it looks kind of interesting. It's called Dragair. Yeah, Dragair Academy. Or Dragner Academy, however you want to pronounce it. Say, because with Japanese spelling and stuff, it's hard to know the correct pronouncement, because there's a lot of animes and stuff which are pronounced completely differently than they're spelled. So that makes things sometimes difficult to pronounce. But anyways, I'll see you tomorrow here again, YouTube land. And of course, stay tuned for a future comic book review, which I'm actually working on today, speaking of. So, stay tuned for that. Hopefully I'll have it uploaded in the next few hours.